The government banned artificial trans fats, calling them unsafe to eat. That should have made margarine better. But what slid in to replace them isn't much comfort. Most tubs today are bulked up with palm oil's fats that can raise cholesterol and come from farms overseas accused of wrecking forests and treating workers poorly. Some brands even play games with labels using tiny serving sizes so they can brag about 0 calories. Others splash olive oil on the front even though it barely shows up in the recipe. For years, families trusted margarine as the safer choice. Doctors' ads, even schools pushed it as the smarter swap for butter. But look closer now, and you'll see long chemical names, hidden oils and ingredients designed to stretch profits, not protect your heart. That golden tub may shine in the fridge, but it carries risks many folks never hear about. That's why today we're naming 5 margarine brands you'll want to keep out of your kitchen. And we'll also share 2 you can still count on at the table. Oil and Country Crock Plant Butter. Country Crock Plant Butter with olive oil looks like a safe bet the second you see it. The front of the tub leans on the olive story. Calm green tones. An olive branch. The words with olive oil right where your eyes land. For many shoppers, that signals a kinder fat and a smarter choice. But turn the tub around and the picture changes. The ingredient list puts soybean oil, palm fruit oil, and palm kernel oil ahead of olive oil. In plain talk, olive oil is in there, but it is not the lead. It is a small part of a larger blend. That gap matters because people buy this spread for their hearts. They have heard for years that olive oil is a better fat. So plant butter with olive oil sounds like a simple way to make breakfast and dinner a touch safer. It also sounds like something worth a small premium. When the back label shows a different story, trust takes a hit. You feel like you paid for the olive grove and got the palm plantation. There's a legal side to this too. Shoppers have gone to court and argued that the label oversells the olive. One high-profile case out of New York drew a lot of attention. In that case, the judge ruled for the company. That is important context. It means the courts did not find the label illegal in that suit. But even with that outcome, everyday buyers can still feel misled when they finally read the fine print. A legal win does not wipe away the sense that a front label set an expectation the recipe did not meet. Health is the next piece. Years back, spreads like margarine used artificial trans fats to get that firm, buttery feel. The federal government later said those fats were not safe and phased them out. By late 2023, the last steps of that rule change were done. Companies needed a new way to achieve structure and spreadability. Many turned to palm and palm kernel oils. Those oils do the job, but they bring more saturated fat than people think when they hear plant-based. That is why a product can be free of trans fat and still not be a win for your arteries. There's also the quiet creep of additives that most folks never notice. To keep texture and freshness, plants spreads like this often rely on preservatives and emulsifiers. They are allowed and labeled. None of that is hidden in a legal sense, but it adds to the feeling that the product is more engineered than the front suggests. When the promise is olive, many viewers expect simple. What they get is a modern blend built to hit price, texture, and shelf life targets first. To be fair to Country Crock, their defense is straightforward. The back label lists a blend of plant-based oils. The words are there. The sticks and tubs are sold as vegetable oil spreads. The company complied with the trans fat phase-out. If you like the taste and the price, nothing stops you from putting it in your cart. Those facts belong in this segment, so we do not sound one-sided. But the core worry remains. The strongest words on the package are with olive oil. That phrase carries a powerful meaning for Americans who move to olive oil after a scare or a doctor's warning. When those shoppers learn that olive oil comes after soybean and palm in the list, the product feels like a bait and switch even if the fine print is accurate. It is a feelings issue as much as a facts issue. And feelings drive what goes in the cart. Think about the way this plays out at home. A grandparent wants to make toast a little healthier. They choose Country Crock plant butter with olive oil because it seems close to the bottle on the stove. It slides into the daily routine. A pat on pancakes, a smear on corn, a tablespoon into a skillet for dinner. Over weeks and months, that habit grows. If the spread is not what the front led them to believe, the small daily choices may not help their heart the way they hoped. That is the real-world risk here, not a single scary bite. A slow drift away from the intention. Here's the simple conclusion. Country Crock plant butter with olive oil sells a comfort story on the front and a cost-cutting blend on the back. The company can point to the ingredient panel and the court result, and those points matter. But for a lot of families, the promise of olive oil is the reason they pick it up in the first place. When that promise shrinks to a supporting role, trust erodes. 2 Parquet. Warning first. That blue Parquet bottle that says you can spray on buttery flavor with zero this and zero that use the way real people use it, it can stack up fast. Not just in calories, but in the quiet habits that follow. You spray more on corn, more on toast, a cloud over the skillet. It feels like nothing. It tastes like butter. That is the danger. When food feels free, we use more than we think. Let's pull back the curtain on how a product like Parquet gets made and why it is built that way. Start with texture. Old school margarine once leaned on artificial trans fats to stay firm and spreadable. Those are gone. So manufacturers reach for different tools. Palm and palm kernel oils bring structure. Water keeps cost down and softens the mouthfeel. Emulsifiers hold the mix together so it does not split. Preservatives protect shelf life. Color makes it look like butter. Flavor chemists rebuild the butter notes we expect. None of that is a crime. But it is a recipe designed around price stability and a familiar bite more than homestyle purity. Now come the labels. Food law lets companies round numbers down when a serving is tiny enough. That is how a spray can call itself 0 calorie and 0 fat per tiny burst. Technically true, practically misleading, because nobody mists a single quick puff and puts the bottle away. Folks spray until their food looks glossy and tastes rich. Those tiny servings add up to real amounts. The label does not lie. It just speaks a language most shoppers do not use at the dinner table. Why build it this way? Because the market rewards the word zero. It soothes guilt. It moves product. A spray that promises flavor without cost feels like magic. Add in a low price per bottle thanks to water and additives and you have a beautiful business. Long shelf life means fewer returns. Palm-based structure means a stable formula that ships well in summer heat and winter cold. Emulsifiers keep every squirt consistent. The engineering is clever. It is also cynical. It banks on how people actually eat versus how the serving line pretends they eat. There is a deeper psychology at work. When a food wears a health halo, we give ourselves permission. We take a second ear of corn. We butter the rolls we had planned to skip. We feel smart for choosing the spray and then we use it like paint. That is not a moral failing. It is human. The companies count on it. They do not need to cheat to win. They just need to frame the choice so you relax your guard. Health-wise, the trade-offs are simple. No artificial trans fats is good news. But more palm-based fats in the overall diet can nudge saturated fat up if you are heavy-handed. Additives like emulsifiers and preservatives are approved and common, yet the long ingredient list is a signal that this is not a simple dairy food. It is an engineered food made to hit a price point, an image, and a promise. The promise is the hook. The engineering is the net. You can see how this plays out in real kitchens. A grandparent trying to cook light for the family moves the spray to the front of the cabinet. They shoot a quick coat over a pan, then one more for good measure. They pass the bottle at the table because it is guilt-free. A movie night comes with a shiny bowl of popcorn. Over a week, that bottle goes down faster than anyone expected. Nothing dramatic happens. No sirens. Just a slow drift from a smart choice to a slippery habit. Parquet is not alone in this. The whole category learned the same lessons. Remove the bad word. Replace it with comforting words. Build the formula so it behaves like butter at room temp and on hot food. Keep the cost low. Protect the shelf. Make the front of the package do the heavy lifting. The back panel will always be there if someone asks. Most people do not ask. To be fair, the defense is simple. The facts are printed on the label. The spray meets the rules. The tubs and sticks list every ingredient. If you follow the serving size, the numbers are accurate. All true. But rules and reality do not live in the same kitchen. In the real world, people cook by feel. They season by taste. They trust the big words on the front. That is why the zero halo is so powerful. It changes behavior more than any fine print ever could. So here's the neighborly advice. If the claim sounds too perfect, slow down. Read the back. Treat a spray like any fat, a little can be fine, a lot is not your friend. And if the ingredient list looks like a mini science lesson, ask yourself whether you want that in every meal. Because the next brand on our list does not hide behind a spray nozzle at all. It hides in plain sight in the butter case, wearing a smile and a slogan that made America hum along for decades. 3. Bluebonnet. Bluebonnet feels like home the moment you say the name. Many of us grew up with that sunny bonnet and a jingle you can still hum. That is why the letdown hits hard. Shoppers say the tub on shelves today does not match the picture in their heads. They expected simple. They got a long list. They expected butter joy. They got something that feels engineered. You can hear the mix of surprise and frustration. A shopper flips the tub and reads palm oil, palm kernel oil, and a handful of hard-to-say helpers. The face changes. There is that quiet pause people make when they realize a comfort food is not what they thought. Folks say the spread melts different. It sits different on warm bread. Some feel the flavor went from kitchen to factory. Others say it is fine on toast but turns waxy in a pan. Not everyone complains, but the ones who do feel a little bit fooled. Older viewers write with a special kind of sadness. They remember a table set with a small plate, a butter knife, and that bright tub. Sunday eggs, biscuits on holidays. A sense that this was a thrifty, friendly stand-in for butter. Now they feel the product moved on without them. The brand stayed cheerful, but the recipe grew distant. It is not only a taste shift, it is a trust shift. There's worry too. People who switched to softer spreads for their hearts thought vegetable oil meant lighter. Then they learn about palm oil's saturated fat and the long list of extras to hold everything together. They are not chemists. They just want breakfast to be easy and safe. The label makes them work too hard to feel sure. You also hear from cooks who juggle allergies at home. They looked for a dairy-free weeknight helper and were surprised to find whey or soy on certain lines. It is there in print, but nobody wants to squint at every tub under grocery lights. They just want the bonnet to mean what it used to mean. Pull back from the kitchen and you can see what these reactions say about the food industry right now. The front of the package carries a sweet story, tradition, family, a golden color that whispers comfort. The back of the package carries the business plan, fats that travel well, ingredients that keep shape from truck to table, preservatives so the tub lasts, color and flavor to keep the illusion alive. The two sides are both true, but only one side meets your eyes first. That gap becomes the lived experience. People butter a roll and think of their childhood. Then they taste the present. When enough small letdowns stack up, a brand loses its spot in the fridge door. Not with a boycott, with a shrug. The tub slides behind the jam and goes stale. That is how food loyalties end, quietly. Bluebonnet is not just another margarine. It is the story of how a trusted name can wear a sunny smile while serving a formula built for cost and shelf life. It shows what happens when nostalgia is pressed into service for profit. The bonnet is still bright. The song still plays in memory. But inside the tub, the comfort has been traded for compromise. 4. Imperial. A mother stands in the grocery aisle holding 2 tubs in her hands. One is butter-rich and familiar, but the price tag makes her pause. The other is Imperial. Same size, lower cost, with a crown on the label that makes it look almost proud. She slips it into the cart feeling she made a smart choice. She's not alone. Across the country, families on tight budgets reach for Imperial because it feels like a safe way to save. The name itself whispers authority. The packaging is plain, neighborly, nothing fancy. It feels like a product that has been in American kitchens forever. But what sits inside that tub is not so plain. Palm oil and palm kernel oil are the backbone chosen because they are cheap and dependable, not because they are gentle on the heart. Preservatives keep it from spoiling. Colorants mimic the golden glow of butter. And tucked into the mix is a milk byproduct that can trip up anyone trying to avoid dairy. It is a quiet reminder that what looks simple is actually engineered. The illusion works because it feels so normal. Imperial does not brag about health. It does not sell itself as premium. It sells itself as everyday. That is its genius. It wears the mask of a working family's friend while inside it follows the same playbook as the flashier spreads, cheaper oils, long ingredient lists, additives to protect the brand's bottom line more than the buyer's body. For the family, that choice feels like love. For the company, it is economics. Palm oil is cheaper than dairy fat. Whey is a low-cost way to add flavor. Shelf life is extended so fewer tubs go to waste. Every step makes sense on a balance sheet. The disconnect is that shoppers believe they are buying thrift, not trade-offs. They believe the crown on the box means tradition and trust, when it really means efficiency and profit. And then there are the hidden costs. A child with a milk allergy breaks out because the family did not expect whey in a so-called vegetable spread. A grandmother who thought she was protecting her heart with a plant-based tub finds out palm oil brings more saturated fat than she realized. A kitchen table that once felt cared for starts to feel compromised. None of these stories make it into the ads. They live in real homes and real moments of disappointment. Listen to the feedback and you can hear the pattern. It doesn't taste like it used to. It's too oily. It feels fake now. These are not just complaints about flavor. They are signals of a trust gap growing wider. Shoppers thought they were part of a tradition. Instead, they find themselves part of a system where the cheapest path wins, and their health is the afterthought. Imperial's story is not about one tub. It is about the quiet pressure in the food industry to stretch every dollar of production. When the cheapest ingredients keep margins safe, the customer becomes the cushion. People feel proud saving 50 cents at checkout, but over months and years, the hidden cost shows up in ways money cannot measure. The illusion of economy is powerful, but illusions do not feed a family well. So Imperial stands as a symbol, a brand that wears a crown yet sells compromise. A spread that calls itself everyday but hides a recipe built on shortcuts. And the ones who suffer most are the very people who reach for it out of care, out of duty, out of love. 5. Earth balance. Butter is a cow in a pasture. Earth balance is a palm plantation and a factory line. Both look golden on toast. Only one tells the same story from field to table. Last but not less serious, this brand wears a green smile while leaning on the very oil many shoppers hope to avoid. Picture two kitchens. In one, a family slides a knife across a stick of dairy butter. Few ingredients. A short story. In the other, a family reaches for a tub of Earth Balance, believing it is the gentler, greener choice. The lid says plant-based. The colors whisper clean, but inside the backbone is palm oil. Not a little. Not a garnish. Palm is the muscle that holds the shape, carries the heat, and keeps the tub firm week after week. That choice did not happen by accident. Years ago, spreads needed structure without the old artificial trans fats. Palm oil stepped in. It is cheap. It ships well. It sets like butter when cold and softens right on time when warm. For a company that is a dream ingredient. For a shopper trying to help both heart and planet, it is a twist in the plot. Listen to why people reach for Earth Balance. One shopper is dairy-free and wants something simple. Another is vegan and wants to tread lighter on the earth. A third just wants the clean look and the promise of better. They open the tub and see a soft, even spread. They taste a familiar buttery note. They feel proud. Then someone sends a link, or they read the label more slowly. Palm oil sits at the front of the line. The pride turns to a dull ache. You can feel it in the messages. I thought this was the responsible choice. I did not know it was built on palm. Palm is not only a nutrition question. It is a place question. It is forests cut into rows. It is smoke in the air when land is cleared. It is rivers turned thick. It is workers far from view. Brands will say their palm is certified and improving and some progress is real. Yet the hard truth remains, if palm is the base fat, the tub lives on that global machine. A green label in an American fridge does not erase the map. There's another comparison worth making. Think of the word natural. On a farm, natural is a cow in a field and cream in a churn. In a plant-based spread, natural becomes a flavor note, a color choice, an image of leaves. It is a feeling more than a fact. Earth Balance is very good at that feeling. The tub looks gentle. The fonts are soft. The name itself promises harmony. But the ingredient list shows a modern build palm for structure, other oils for balance, flavors to mimic butter stabilizer, so every scoop behaves the same. Not poison, not a scandal, just a gap between story and substance. Health talk needs plain words. Plant-based does not mean heart-safe by default. Palm carries more saturated fat than many expect. A little may be fine. A lot every day stacks up in quiet ways. That is the trap with a halo brand. When a food feels clean, we reach for it more often. A bagel here, a pan of vegetables there, a holiday dish with an extra spoon for richness. The tub empties before we notice. Here's the part that stings. Earth balance often costs more than the plain tubs it sits beside. People pay that premium because they want to do right. They want a kinder footprint and a kinder spread. When they learn that the base is the same palm engine used across the aisle, the letdown hits twice, first in the heart, then in the wallet. Does that make Earth balance the worst actor in the story? No. It makes it the mirror. It reflects how the food business can tuck heavy choices behind light words. It shows how eco-language can sell the same old solution in a softer voice. It proves that packaging can carry a conscience that the recipe does not. So keep this comparison in mind. Butter is a simple promise with simple trade-offs. Earth balance is a complex promise with complex trade-offs. If the promise matters more than the recipe, the promise wins. If the recipe matters more than the promise, the halo slips. And now, after 5 hard looks, here comes the turn. You have been waiting for 2 spreads that do not need a costume, 2 labels that match the fine print, and 2 choices that can actually earn their place on your table. Sakes Benecol. Let's start with some good news. There's a tub that actually earns its place in the fridge. Benecol Buttery Spread does not just sell a feeling. It brings something real to the table. It uses plant stanol esters, a special part of plants that can help lower bad cholesterol when you use it the right way as part of a heart-smart diet. That is rare in this aisle, and it is worth your attention. Many of us still love warm toast in the morning and a little richness on vegetables at night. We want comfort without fear. We do not want a lecture. We want a tool that fits into real life. Benecol is built for that. It tastes like the spreads you know, but it adds a function your doctor can get behind. No magic, no hype, just a steady helper for the long haul. Here's the simple science in plain words. Cholesterol travels through your gut, and some of it gets absorbed. Plant stanol esters act like tiny speed bumps. They help block some of that absorption so less bad cholesterol ends up in your blood. The effect is not a cure and not instant. It builds with routine. Use it day by day as the label guides along with a diet lower in saturated fat and cholesterol, and it can help move your numbers in the right direction. Now the honest part. Benecol is still a spread. It has oils, water flavor, and emulsifiers to hold it all together. Some versions may include palm or canola along with the stanol esters. That is why we frame this as a better choice, not a perfect one. The point is, it adds something with proven purpose instead of only a story on the front of the tub. Picture a quiet morning. You brew coffee. You slice whole grain bread. You reach for a tub that does more than shine in the light. A thin layer of Benecol melts into the toast. It tastes like breakfast should taste. You are not giving up joy to be careful. You are swapping guesswork for a plan. That small, steady habit can help you feel less afraid of the next blood test. You are not chasing a trend. You are choosing a tool that was made for this exact worry. Let's keep it fair and clear. Results vary from person to person. You still need the rest of the picture: more fiber, more movement, fewer ultra-processed snacks, and a lighter hand with saturated fat. Benecol will not outrun a heavy diet all by itself. But if you're going to keep a spread on the shelf, this is one of the few that gives something back every time you use it as directed. That is the kind of trade most of us can live with. A quick shopping tip without the lecture. Look for the Benecol name on the lid. Flip the tub and find the plant stanol ester call-out and the serving guidance. Follow that simple note each day. Keep the rest of your meals calm and sensible. That is it. No counting, no stress. Just a routine you can trust. 7. I can't believe it's not butter. Let's end on a high note. There's a familiar yellow tub that actually earns real praise. The original spread from I can't believe it's not butter sits in the fridge like any other, but it comes with a quiet badge that matters. The heart check mark on the front tells shoppers this specific tub meets strict limits for things like saturated fat and sodium. That is not marketing fluff. That is a recognized program many doctors trust. Fans talk first about taste. They say it brings a warm, buttery note without the heaviness. Toast feels like toast again. Vegetables shine. Corn gets that gentle gloss. It melts clean on hot pancakes. It's softened straight from the fridge, so there is no hacking at a brick on a cold morning. Over and over, the praise repeats in simple words, spreads easy taste, right? No fuss. The second theme is everyday ease. People like that, the tub works across the day. A little on breakfast, a light swipe at lunch, a quick stir into weeknight vegetables. It is not a special occasion spread. It is a steady helper that behaves the same way every time you open the lid. That predictability wins hearts, especially in busy homes where dinner has to move fast. There's also relief in the numbers story. Shoppers who read labels say they feel better choosing a spread that carries the heart check. They see plant-based oils on the ingredient line. They see no artificial flavors listed on the tub they buy. They see the promise of 0 trans fat per serving on the packaging. They like that they can make a small careful swap without losing the comfort of a golden smear on warm bread. It feels like a grown-up compromise that still tastes like home. Home cooks add one more point. This tub behaves in a hot pan without breaking or smoking too soon. A touch in a skillet helps eggs release. A gloss on green beans keeps them bright. For simple recipes, people say it delivers the soft flavor they want without taking over the dish. They're not trying to win a contest. They're trying to put dinner on the table with a little less worry and a little more joy. Recognition helps seal the deal. The heart check stands out because it is earned, not invented. To carry it, a product has to meet published criteria. Shoppers know that. They trust that someone outside the brand took a hard look. That trust shows up in reviews. People describe feeling calmer about what they are serving to a spouse, to a friend after church, to a grandchild who always asks for one more slice of toast. The last piece is price and access. Folks like that, they can find this tub in regular stores at a fair price. No hunt, no long drive. The label is clear enough to read in the aisle. The choice feels doable, not elite. That matters when you are trying to build better habits you can stick with through holidays, travel, and busy weeks. So here is the simple praise this brand earns. It tastes good, it spreads easy, it carries a real heart mark. It shows up in stores where people already shop. And the people who bring it home say the same thing in a dozen different ways. This tub makes it easier to keep the comfort we love and the care we need. We have seen the good, the bad, and the clever tricks hiding in the margarine aisle. 5 brands that promise more than they deliver, each with its own twist of disappointment. 2 brands that stand apart not because they are perfect, but because they bring something real, something helpful, and something you can trust a little more. In the end, that is the heart of it. Labels can shine, tubs can look the same, but it is what goes inside that shapes our health, our trust, and our tables. Choose with open eyes. Choose with care. Because every small choice adds up meal by meal, year by year. And that is the kind of power no company can take away.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.